Good evening, my educator family, and let me welcome you once more to Analysis right here with Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, where our mission is to empower you, our educators. Well, though I said good evening, persons may be watching in the morning or in the evening, whichever time, we're just welcoming you to our platform. As you know, the Monday is as the mega magnificent month where we're focusing directly on online learning. And listen, they say when it is good, you need to back again. And so we have with us Mr. Smith once more, joining us to do this analysis with us for this Thursday. We welcome you once more to the platform, sir. Let me tell you, last week I got excellent reviews. Read the analysis that was done with you. And I know for sure this week will also be an excellent one. So on Sunday, we had Mrs. Kadabra Bernard Brown. She's a school psychologist in Indiana, USA, and where she deals with and dealing with students, of students, and all of those. So she did a lovely cap of what is the flipped classroom. What is it all about? We have heard the term flipped classroom. Now, what really is the flipped classroom and how can we use the classroom in our online setting to maximize the learning of students? So, Mr. Smith, you take it away from me. How was this week's session? Just give us your regular vibes that you always do.
All right. Well, it's good to be back. Thank you for having me. My dogs are quiet this time, I hope. So I look forward to a grand discussion. I must first say that Mrs. Kadabra Bernard Brown did an excellent job with the flipped classroom. I was gagged. I was lost for words, man. I was like, I need to be doing this more. I did not know that I was doing it, but I got some even more ideas to build on. And where do we even start? But I always have my little notes and my pen
Good.
because I had to take down these notes. I first start with her idea that flipping the classroom means assigning classwork for homework and doing homework in a class. I thought that was an excellent idea because oftentimes, we complain, Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, that the students are not doing their homework. And
Right.
if we could bring the homework into the classroom and then have the homework done in class, then it would be easier for students to understand and grasp certain content. No, I did jot it down that my concern is now, what if the students don't do the reading? What if they don't engage with the material before class? Because the
All
flip
right.
classroom
Great.
does challenge that notion. But I love when she said that, I think it was actually you who said it, that when they're in class and they're having these discussions and they can't participate, they're going to feel away, man. They're going to say,
Yes.
but we don't know what you're talking about. So I want to be in that midst. I want to make
Right.
my opinion. So I'm going to try to
Yes.
do reading next time. And I always believe in encouraging hard work and labor. So I feel as if we even incentivize certain things and they see our active students who are engaging and doing all that they should do, they're going to say, but I want to win this. I want to get some of what they're getting. So I believe that we can,
Mhm.
if anybody was like me doubting the flipped classroom, I believe we can use this still and prompt, not all, but even some of our students into really saying, I want to go and do this. Now, if you haven't watched
Awesome.
the video, pause. Oh, go ahead, Miss. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sir. You continue. So you're saying
Okay.
if they haven't watched,
Yeah,
yes, man, go
yeah,
ahead.
I was saying, if you haven't watched this video of the flip classroom, then pause this one that you're watching now in your time
Right now,
and go
yes.
watch it now. Because trust me, we're going in depth in our little time allotted and giving
Yes.
you what I found to be very, very,
Very,
very helpful. And I love the
yeah.
4 pillars of flip learning.
All
So the
right. So
first one is
before we touch on the four
yeah.
pillars, right? The
Mhm.
fact, as you mentioned, that she gave us the idea of what the flipped classroom is. Because here it is that educators may think that, okay, the flipped classroom means that I am not going to be a teacher, so students become the teacher in the classroom, when really and truly it's not about that. Or some person may say, all right, let me just let them watch videos and talk about it. No, the idea of flipping the classroom is that we know that the classroom generally is where they come to get instruction, where you come to teach, yes? So they come expecting that. But in the flipped classroom, they take responsibility by reading ahead, watching the videos ahead of time and whatever needs to be done outside. So it's like giving them the classwork for homework. And then when they come into class, we are doing the homework with them. So it flips it around for them. And what you will find happening, Mr. Smith, at first, the children, they may not even take you serious with the approach that you are doing. But when they come and they realize that, okay, I've been left out, I can't keep up, you place them in groups because there's the cooperative side to it as well. So you place them in group, they're working, they're contributing, and I can't contribute. Then it becomes a habit now where whenever you give anything, even not using the flipped approach, they are going to want to participate and to do. And as you said rightly, many of you educators right now, I know when we go into the pillars and the technique, you are going to realize that you have been doing this, but maybe they didn't know that it was really the flipped classroom, and then you can add some more, put in some more, pack on some more, do the little habits, because remember, my mantra is slow and steady with the race. It's online learning. It's new for teachers, it's new for students. You cannot take on everything at once. So as you learn, you add to your reservoir, and you add to it, and then you start to spill out little by little until it becomes so much a part of you. So, sir, you were going to the pillars of the flipped classroom. What are the pillars of the flipped classroom? How does it work? Do you see it happening for you or for educators in general?
Yeah, honestly, I had these 4 pillars of flipped learning, and I had decided that I want these to be the 4 pillars of any education. No matter what you're learning, this must be present in everything, because at first we must have a flexible environment. And I like that it cannot just be a rigid environment, because as you would know, Miss, maybe you have a little farming knowledge like myself. Not everywhere can certain plants grow or certain animals thrive. So in the same sense, not every environment is fit for every student. So you have to be a little bit more flexible as a educator, not just a teacher, I know, because we have a certain idea for teacher, but you're really an educator here to, and I'll now touch the second pillar, here to promote the learning culture. I like that. The learning culture, a culture of learning. It's not just okay, I'm in class now, it's class time and I only learn during class. No, we keep learning outside of class, and we develop this habit of engaging with the content during their own time. And that, Miss, I can touch, I'm a little psychology now, that challenges them to dedicate and to be responsible learners, because they're going to say, I have a reading to complete, mommy and daddy. So I need to take 10, 20, 30 minutes to assign out of my day. And they're going to focus and zoom in and say, okay, I need to get this, man. And then not only that, but we challenge them and we give them a formative assessment. And we tell them, if you don't understand, write it down, ask your questions. We're building their confidence and their integrity as students to say, my opinions matter, my questions matter, and my own growth matters. And then we go on to the
where they're being responsible. They have to become responsible learners now. All right. So they have to now take part in the learning process, knowing that they have to prepare for class. So it's no more you coming to class and teacher prepared to teach you. It's more of you coming prepared, ask teacher, so that the teacher becomes the facilitator on the guide on the side, rather than the one influencing. So it's not a teacher-centered approach, but a student-centered approach. Good, yeah.
Beautiful, right? I love that. And then our third pillar is intentional content. And I I drew a little smiley face beside that one because I said that for me, I want to refine that skill because there's no shame in admitting that we're not all good and glorious in every aspect.
Mhm.
As educators, this is why we're having these platforms and these meetings so that we can learn. There's nothing
Yes.
wrong with humbling ourselves, and learning and
Right.
hearing from the experts. Because after that,
Mhm.
I feel like sometimes I just drag any old content out there and I put it onto my
Yes.
students. But I remember that sometimes we have to be intentional in what we choose for them to learn from. How does it
True.
affect their culture? Can the students
Mhm.
relate to certain things? And for example,
Yeah.
I teach literature, and certain times I don't want them to just know about Romeo and Juliet. I want them to have stories that they can say, I see myself in this character. If we tell them all about, oh, it was freezing as snow, they don't know what snow feel like. No offense to
That's
some of
it.
them, but they don't really know what snow feels like, so they can't picture
Yeah.
that. But if we say, for example, that we were living in a certain space and the cows the rural setting, for some of them they
Yeah.
might like that. For others, we have to say, okay, well, they went to the summer pool party, they went to a school where
Mhm.
it was mixed gendered. So you understand that the content will vary based on who you're
Right.
interacting with. And we need to
True.
break down the stereotypes of our students as, oh, everybody at the school are just one set. No, they're different. In your classroom, it's a little society. So you have to cater
Diversity.
appropriately to the needs of
Mhm.
others. There might be
Yeah.
persons from different backgrounds, from different races in life. So we can't just pretend
Yeah.
like we're all Jamaican and everything is simple. As our motto truly states, we are out of many one people. So our
Right.
content should be out of many one places. And
True.
finally, our fourth pillar is professional educator. And oh my miss, I had to just raise my hand and say, God be praised. Because that's that professional educator, man. It's not just about the
Mhm.
look of being professional.
Yes.
It's not about just dressing up
Right.
for work and being on time. It's about how you
Uh-huh.
conduct yourself and how you allow others to feel that they are learning. It's about the approach you take to teaching and how you
Yeah.
engage the students, how you motivate them, and how you add to their growth.
Good.
So I
Yeah.
don't know if you want
So
to
the,
just
the
add in on that
professional
to
part of
Miss.
it is you as a professional within the setting, you are doing and you're also benefiting from it because out of the flipped classroom, you should be seeing your growth as the educator, really becoming the facilitator and not just the giver of knowledge and what is going on.
Right, right. I love that. That's true. And
Yeah.
then as we talked about in our last video, it's not just as the teacher pouring knowledge into the student's brain, it's
Yeah.
allowing them to quote unquote learn how to fish for themselves.
Mhm. Right. And two, a very important point too that we must look at in the professional growth, the professional part of the flipped classroom is that we should be observing and recording and using data. So we can't just say, okay, the students of 10W, they're not reading. How do you know that they're not reading? How do you know that they're not analyzing properly? How do you know that they don't understand how to compute the math? How do you know that they don't understand sentence structure? It is going to be as
Mm-hmm.
a result of the data you mined from them when you gave them the video to watch, to summarize, and then to
Mm-hmm.
come into class and discuss. You realize that, okay, of the 20 students, only
Yeah.
4 or 5 of them are at the level they should be. So it's not a broad-based approach that we should be using to um, assess or to diagnose students when it comes to what they can do, but it is data that we have to. So we have to make sure, educators, that while we're doing the flipped classroom, there's going to be enough time for you to analyze the students, to observe what they're doing, to document when they do the work, and you have your rubric set up and you're marking them for what they do. You are now able to see that consistently John Brown is not performing at the level that he should be performing. what's your next move? What is it that you now need to do to help John Brown to perform, or do you need to refer John Brown for additional help? So that is very, very critical and important.
Right, that is
All
it.
right.
And I,
So, sir, after,
you're
yeah. All right, good. So after we looked at, she delved into the pillars, so it gives us an understanding of where we need to go. But how do we bring the flipped classroom? What is it that we need to be doing to demonstrate that, yes, this is a classroom? Because we can have the pillars, you know, we work with the pillars, but how do we bring out the pillars in our content? What were the approaches that were there that we can really delve into and utilize?
right. And just to touch a little bit before I jump into the techniques that were given, Miss, I have it here that data should be used for lesson planning, as you correctly stated, because I feel as if we need to understand that if teaching is not just get up and teach, we are scientists, we are researchers, we don't stop teaching, we don't stop engaging. So I love what you just said about that. And to go into the techniques now, she gave us 6 techniques, and I have them jotted down briefly. And the first one is the traditional flip, where she would say that before a class, we assign the learning material, whether it be a video or a paper to read. And then during the class, we have a practice session where we get individualized help. So students we can understand, okay, who is having issues with this. And you, as the educator, you can pinpoint those students and help them, or even refer them to a classmate and say, okay, I know that Mrs. Lewis did excellent on this question. So let me get her to explain it to you. Because sometimes, you know, miss, we might feel that we are the best to explain to them, but students learn best from their peers, from people who speak their own language. That is true. Right. Another technique that she gave is the WSQ by Crystal Kurt. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, where she said that students will watch the video and then they will summarize it, and then they will ask questions. And she gave us the categories of the questions, that it can be a confusion question, a question for clarification, or a question for discussion. And then after that, no, the teacher will answer these questions. They will help them to answer these questions and provide the feedback.
Right. Yeah.
Right, lovely. And then one of my personal favorite, man, I have a little heart beside it, is the JIT by Gregory Nowak, where before the class, just as before, you know, the activity is given, they're engaged with it before class, and then during class now, they teach, they review, and they practice. And then I love the idea of having them in the classroom. They're reviewing what they did. They're practicing what they did. So they're saying, okay, let me show you how it is done together. And another one is and this is my favorite,
the discussion one.
Hands down my favorite, the discussion preparation. Because as you know, from my class, I'm sorry, we have to get talking, and not just talking, communicating through words and through letters. And I love when my students can understand that the English language, as tricky as it might be, and we know it's rough to come on a platform and speak English all the while, is that I want my students to be competent, not just in their mother tongue, but in the desired language. The language that is powerful, so that they can carry themselves in any setting and format. And I love the fact that for the discussion preparation, after they have interacted with the material before class, in the class, we go for a deeper, wider discussion.
Deeper understanding.
Right. And then how you can do that, you might say, all right, then how we get a deeper understanding? We can form a debate. So for example,
I love those tips. Yeah, the debate, the action style, the quiz, the agree, disagree, the fan, the fiction,
Right. And then it just
jumps out discussion.
Right. And it jumps out at me now, miss, that I have a class tomorrow and I'm doing it tomorrow. I'm adding it there tomorrow. That I
Yeah.
saw an article, an unfortunate article about the young lady who was in a quote unquote relationship with the 20-year-old, and how things ended tragically. And I
Yeah.
was going to use that discussion just to grab their attention, to get them talking, to get them more
Yeah.
comfortable, to debate, at what age do you think should you be able to date? And then
Yeah.
people might be like, but sure, how that link to any content? Remember, we have to first get the students engaged. Once you get them engaged,
Age, something
you
that
can
that
you
is
can
out
know,
there that is relevant to them, that speaks to
right,
them. Yeah.
right. And then once you get their attention, Mrs. Boswell-Lewis, then you can divert their attention to say, okay, so now just like how you were able to effectively bring across your points about this matter, let us look at this topic of climate change, which is the theme for our exam. And that is how you curve the attention, because we have to get them
Good.
engaged. And then
Agree.
this one is for you now. I know that you must use this,
Yeah,
the
the science based, the
demonstration.
math based. Yeah.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Where you have them, they probably watch a video of it being done.
Right.
And then during class now, multiple practices being done where
Tips.
they keep on
Yeah.
repeating, and then it would cement that idea. Because
The
as persons
concept.
might, yes, go
It
ahead,
will
miss.
cement the concept for them.
Right, definitely. Because as we say over and over, practice becomes perfect. And I will challenge them to say that sometimes you will practice the wrong thing and you'll become perfectly wrong. Because if you keep on repeating the incorrect formula and nobody corrects you, then you'll be perfectly imperfect. So we have to have good practice and somebody to guide them. And that is the key essence of the flipped classroom. Teachers are not just sitting aside on their phones or in space. You are acting as the guide. And then the jigsaw, which, oh my gosh, I don't think I will ever leave my lesson planning skills without integrating the jigsaw in every month of my lesson plan, where we break up the content and assign the students as teachers. And I got the ideas of saying, okay, I'm going to have groups, and I'll call their group name by something that they like. And I'll say, okay, group spice, you will be teaching this topic. You can do it any way that you like. You can assign
Right.
I can be here to show you how to make the PowerPoint, to show you how to make to find the resources.
Right.
And in that way, miss, you're not only giving them a
True.
chance to express themselves, you're giving them a chance to say,
Yeah.
okay, sir is depending on me. So now I can take a little more responsibility.
To
And when they have
building
an idea that, okay, this is my group time to present next week, they're going to say, no, man, I can't let no Miss Boswell-Lewis. I have to come to class and I have to put on my best show. And we're building on the teamwork and we're building on the camaraderie of learning environment in the classroom. So I love
Yes.
that. And those were the
Right.
basically the 6 techniques that she gave us.
Yeah.
And I had to
And
jot.
right. And two, there's more than just the 6 techniques that are there, but these are the
Yeah.
ideal one that we can start out learning. The last one
Mm-hmm.
that you identify with the jigsaw and so on, that's the cooperative learning approach where you're having them in the online setting working together with each other. And what this does is to move the students away from being selfish with the knowledge to now sharing the knowledge with them.
Right.
And so, Mr. Smith, as we close out this afternoon, I want to thank you so much for a very in-depth and enriched analysis of what was done on Monday when we look at the flipped classroom. How do you see this working for you as a beginning teacher in this team? Is
Definitely,
this
I
something to build your repertoire of techniques? Will it be building your repertoire of techniques?
definitely it will. Sorry about that. Yes, it will be building, and it has already impacted my own lesson planning. Because as I tell people, and I'm not joking, my HOD might be watching this, I can't lie. I am going to do it tomorrow in class. I'm going to be
Yeah.
using the debate because I like when because today, and we must say we went back to face-to-face learning over some time. And it was such a joy to see my students face to face. And even though we had our little heart-to-heart talk, I said, students, we have work to be done, and I know that we can do it. And as your teacher, I'm not giving up on you, but I want you now to show me what you have learned for how many months I've been talking and presenting. And I want to be there to guide you, because we're not just preparing our students to pass an exam. We are,
Yes.
but we're also preparing them to be the future men and women of tomorrow. So definitely I'll be taking not just these 6 techniques, but the other techniques from Strategic Thursdays and Strategic Sundays and from Mrs. Carla Boswell-Lewis, and
Thank you.
implementing, integrating,
Yeah.
investing them into my lesson plan.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for joining. This was
Mhm.
Analysis Thursday Educators, where we looked at the flipped classroom. How were the tips given? Have we seen them working in our classrooms? How have we been using them? Do we see them as tools, as strategies that going forward we can definitely implement? As a beginning teacher, Mr. Smith has already started. And I know that many other educators who may have heard this and you may be wondering, how can I use them? Today we gave analysis in the real Jamaican context, but I'm also aware that we have Caribbean listeners and those from overseas, American, different parts of the country, the world, that can really pull in and utilize these tips as we plan for our students to move them up from the low level, into the upper level class that we really want them to be. Help us to, as educators, to be reflective and to develop skills as we plan in this new normal. Educators, thank you so much for always joining us. Please leave your comments below. Please give us your feedback. Remember, we asked you if you really wanted us to look at the flipped classroom as an entire series, where we bring it out some more, we delve into some additional information that was left out because of time, and then that will be able to help you to prepare yourself for the new term, because practically our terms are usually going out now, but you may want to add it in, or you may want to save it for September for the new school year. Not a problem. Just leave your comments below. Thank you so much for viewing. This is Strategic Educational Consultancy Services, where our mission is to empower you, our educators. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, and share so that the educators can come and get this valuable information as well. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us once more. Continue to listen, continue to participate, and to use knowledge as best as you can. All right, thank you.